Welcome back to the Mental Manny podcast. I am your host, Rossi the Mental. And in today's episode, we will be talking about borderline personality disorder, which is a very common disorder amongst society today. It is a new found disorder in terms of most disorders that we know about. It is quite new. It is also one of the more severe disorders to do with the personality. We're gonna talk about borderline personality today, and there's no better place to start than for the people that don't know what borderline personality is. So what is borderline personality? Well, BPD, or borderline personality disorder, is just a type of a personality disorder. It is called borderline personality disorder because it borderlines into so many psychiatric disorders and non-psychiatric disorders. So lots of people get diagnosed with it or get misdiagnosed with it if they go in and give these certain symptoms. If you feel very worried about people abandoning you, or you would do anything to stop people abandoning you, or that you have very intense emotions that can last from anywhere from like a couple of hours to a few days, and it can change very quickly. So you can go from very happy, confident, to suddenly feeling very low and sad. Another symptom, a big one, is you don't really have a strong sense of who you are, and it can change significantly depending on who you're with. So you start to believe you're a different person around a certain person. It can be very difficult to make or keep stable relationships. That is one of the biggest ones that BPD people suffer with. They also feel empty a lot of the time because of these other symptoms. They can act impulsively and do things that could harm them. Binge eating, drugs, driving dangerously, lots of different stuff, self-harm, suicidal feelings, very intense feelings like that's all you have, very stressed. You may also experience paranoia or disassociation. And there's someone here saying, worst part of my BPD is the insecure relationships. When I am attached to someone, they are my whole world and it is crippling. I care so deeply about how long they take to reply to an email or their tone of voice because I am so afraid of losing them. So, let's talk about the actual dealing with the symptoms and dealing with the disorder itself. I am a person who deals with borderline personality disorder, so I have pretty good experience with it. And the treatments, one of the main treatments would be psychotherapy, or you could go for CBT, which is cognitive behavioural therapy. You could do DBT, which is dialectical behavioural therapy. There's many different therapies you could take. You could do counselling. Medication route, they sometimes use antidepressants, antipsychotics, mood stabilizers. There's lots of stuff that they can do for a borderline personality disorder. You just gotta look and find the right doctor, because a lot of them don't have the qualifications to deal with it because it is such a complicated disorder. And the way you can also manage and stabilize yourself is by pushing yourself out into society and learning and keeping hope inside you and realizing that this is a part of who you are, it's a part of what has happened to you, and that you are not a bad person, you are not narcissistic, and that you aren't stuff that other people tell you are just because you don't want people to leave, or that you have these fears. You are no less of a person than that other person, and that there is help out there is support, and that people genuinely do care about you, because people who have borderline detach themselves from other people. They don't want the attachment, so they start putting up scenarios in their heads that people don't care about them, and that people don't understand them, and people can't kind of be a part of their life for that reason. They push them away because they're so scared that they're going to leave anyway, so they detach themselves because they feel like that is the best move, that's the way they're going to get the least hurt from that situation. They can also manipulate certain situations, and they're not doing it because they are manipulating, they are doing it because they are in fear, they are in complete fear, and adrenaline is shooting around them, and they're acting irrationally, and they're not thinking about it, it's just their emotions taking them through the choice making. People with borderline personality disorder aren't narcissistic, because that would be narcissistic personality disorder. Narcissism and BPD are very two dissimilar things. They are worlds apart, but people see them as a very, very similar piece of mental health, but they are very, very different. There's a lot of what they call like a personality split, where you start seeing, if someone's nice to you, you see them as the good person, if they're not nice to you, you see them as the not nice person, and until they do something nice, or maybe never, that you'll always see them as that person, you know, the good or the bad person. It's always black and white. There is no in between. You've always seen things black and white, but that isn't always the case, because life is about mediums and all about multiple options, whereas that doesn't really exist in the world of BPD. In the BPD mindset, you only see two options, and one's bad, one's good, and that can be really difficult, because you either end up making the right choice or the wrong choice, and quite a lot of the time, if you made the right choice, it feels like the wrong choice anyway. It can be scary, it can be anxiety ridden, it can be horrible, it can be such an awful experience for people, and it's very tough for people to deal with. I've probably done a really botched job of summarising it, but I think it needs more awareness, and I think people need to stop using the stigma for borderline personality disorder and kind of move forward with the rest of these disorders, and realise like we're just normal people trying to live normal lives. We just find certain things more difficult. But this is my summary of borderline personality disorder. I am Rossi, your host, and this has been The Mental Manny. Thank you for listening.